Hello, my name is Pamela, affectionately known to everyone as Pammie. I am a Loctician and the writer of the blog Locs Talk. This week, we're going to talk about something special. If you're loose natural and you're thinking about locking your hair, this is the talk for you, because I'm going to talk about the things you need to know before you lock your hair. All right, welcome. Come on in, have a seat, get comfortable. We're going to have a little bit of a talk because, people oftentimes like to say, I want those locks, especially if they see them and they look good and they're like, oh, I like those. I want those. But a lot of times people, when they fall in love with people's locks, when they see them, they forget about what it took to get to that place. So that's what today's talk is all about. Is to mentally prepare you for the journey ahead, because baby, it's not easy. Think of it like, for those of you, if you have already begun to start on a healing journey, or a spiritual journey, and the challenges and ups and downs and the parts that's really hard that makes you want to give up and quit and be like, oh, this is so not worth it. Well, you experience a lot of that also in your lock journey. And that's what I want to talk about with you today. So I just want to remind you that I will be going back and forth between my laptop, which is down right in front of me. I'm going to put my glasses on today because my eyes, yeah. But furthermore, I'm going to read along with the blog that I've written on my website, www.Pammielocswithlove74.com. You can feel free to sign up for a membership, which is currently free, but it will not be that way forever. So take advantage of it while it is free. And you can read ahead, because my blog on the website is written weeks ahead of me recording them live for you. So let's get into it, and we're going to go forward. Here we go. Okay, so are we ready? All right. Well, welcome back to Locs Talk, where I talk about all things locks and loose natural hair. This week's blog may appear to be for the lock community, but it's not. It's for my loose natural community. Those of you who are or considering locking up. This is for you. So sit tight, have a seat, get comfortable. There are some important factors to consider before you move forward with your journey if you're considering locks. In my experience as a loctician, the two most popular reasons why people want to get their hair locked is, one, low maintenance, and two, because it looks so damn good. And I have to agree there. Okay? These are two very plausible and very true reasons to want to get locks. But hold your horses. Wait. Because there's often a misconception attached to these reasons as well. And that's what we're going to talk about today. More preparation work is involved and needs to be done before you take the first steps into your journey. Today I'm going to discuss things you should know and be pretty certain of before you start your journey. So let's get into it. First things first. Let's look at the reason why I prefer to it as a lock journey. And it's not just me. Almost everyone within the lock community refers to it as a lock journey. Focusing first and foremost on the word journey and its meaning. Journey. 1. Something suggesting travel or passage from one place to another. The journey from youth to maturity. A journey through time. 2. An act or instance of travel from one place to another. Trip. A 3-day journey. Going on a long journey. Now, how does Loc's relate to a journey? Well, let's explore it, shall we? Number one, passage from one place to another. It isn't just your appearance that changes throughout your journey. The place you are in your life, whether it be your confidence, mentality, or spirituality, for example, you will transition to a different place as your journey progresses through the different stages and experiences throughout your Loc'd journey. 2. Journey from youth to maturity. Now, this one is very interesting. This is definitely in relation to your Loc'd journey. Again, this is not only in relation to the appearance, but also in the character of your Locs. Think of the life of a person, for example, okay? When we are born, we're tiny and fragile and must be handled with a great deal of the gentlest care. As a child grows from an infant into an adult, they learn many things along the way, right? Just as you will within your Loc'd journey during your journey. Your Locs will behave very much like children do. Sometimes being messy and mischievous, and sometimes even rebel to test their limits. You know, like that one stubborn little Loc that won't lay down, for example. Yeah. If you know, you know. Okay, so your Loc'd journey will teach you how to have patience and trust. I'll say it again. You will learn within your Loc'd journey to have patience and trust. But there is a process. Like a new parent, no matter how many books you read or the feedback you get from others with Locs, you will receive plenty of education and knowledge. But your Loc'd journey will be what you make it, regardless of all the information you gather prior. So keep that in mind. It will be challenging at times, but the joy of knowing the destination you are traveling to makes it all worthwhile and worth the journey. Your Loc'd journey is indeed a journey through time, ever evolving day by day. Your scenery is what you will see and experience throughout each stage of your journey. Your Loc'd journey is a trip worth taking, should you choose to embark on a journey. Okay, so we're going to continue looking into the 2 most popular reasons I'm given when I ask clients during the consultation, because this is usually a question I ask new clients. Whether you are Loc'd or not, all of my new clients get a consultation. Why did you choose Locs? Why do you choose Locs? And the most popular reason that I'm given is low maintenance. Now, the misconception that occurs here is many believe, other than their appointments to see their Loctician, perhaps once per month, which is the average, they don't have to do anything else with their Locs until then. So to them, that equates to low maintenance, baby. However, there is work that must be done and committed to on your part. And that is what low maintenance is actually intended to be and would be required of you. Now, let me take you through what that looks like for you. Depending on how often you see your Loctician, you should not exceed 4 weeks between washes without the worry of buildup or scalp issues that may occur, such as seborrheic dermatitis. Seborrheic dermatitis is something that can be developed on any and everybody's scalp. It is not a condition thing saying, oh, you have allergies. No. Anybody can develop seborrheic dermatitis. Keep that in mind, okay? So moving on. 1, if you're not visiting your Loctician every 4 weeks, you are responsible for washing your hair at least once before you see your Loctician again. Don't exceed 4 weeks between your washes. If I had my way, every 2 weeks. Now, when you first lock your hair, especially if you do a comb coil twist, I don't recommend washing your hair before 4 weeks. So yeah. And if you did start with a comb coil, I expect to see you back to me within 4 weeks. Some people want to come sooner than that because when it starts to frizz up, they think it looks like a bird's nest or it's sitting on top of their head. So yeah, they come back sooner. However, within that time, it's fine if I'm washing your hair because I'm being very careful as to not unravel your coils. But they can easily become undone if you wash them too soon. So just keep that up here, okay? And number 2, a moisture routine must also be established, which you can discuss with your loctician. So let me take you into what that looks like. So before I move on, let me go further into what I mean by a moisture routine, because there is no one particular moisture routine for everybody. Your moisture routine will depend strongly upon one element that is used to identify what your hair type is, and that's porosity. If you do not know what your porosity is, it is difficult for you to develop with your loctician or on your own if you are do-it-yourselfer what kind of moisture routine you're going to need. So it's very important that you learn what your porosity is. If you have low porosity hair, then it's going to be hard for you to penetrate your hair with moisture. So you will have to use like lighter moisturizers such as a spray mist, of rose water or anything. I use refresher spray, as you see back here on the table over here. And I don't have low porosity hair. However, if I had a client that has low porosity hair, I definitely would say something that's more liquid and water based to moisture, and you have to use your hands to really massage and get it to get into your hair, because with those flat cuticles, it's hard getting stuff in there. And once it's in there, it stays locked in there, which is why it takes a person with low porosity hair, it takes a very long time for the hair to dry. Like I've heard from clients that say, oh my God, I washed my hair this morning and it's like 9 o'clock at night and it's still wet. Low porosity hair. It holds on to that moisture. It's like a cactus, if that makes any sense. Low porosity hair is also considered to be quite healthy because even with chemical treatment to the hair, it's hard to penetrate that hair. So, as far as there being extensive damage, it takes work to really damage low porosity hair. Medium porosity hair is the absolute easiest to maintain. Why is that the easiest to maintain? Because the hair cuticles are slightly open, so it allows moisture to come in easily. But because it's not wide open, it still retains and holds on to that moisture for a good amount of time. I have medium or normal porosity to my hair. So for me, I can manage to get away with treating my hair once a day on a moisture routine. However, my hair is also color treated, which is why I do it twice a day, because with color treated hair, it does open the cuticles up a little bit more, making it a little bit harder to retain moisture. And therefore, and it doesn't matter if your hair was lightened or any dye, whether it's natural color dye or lighter dye, it doesn't matter. It changes the porosity of your hair. And that's why you have to add more moisture to your hair after you've treated it with color. And if you have low porosity hair, no, high porosity hair. Let me change that. High porosity hair. Ooh, that one is the hard one, because with high porosity, 99.9997% of people with high porosity hair is high porosity because it's damaged. It's a very small percentage of people who have high porosity hair naturally. But most people that has high porosity hair where they cannot hold on to moisture, especially people that has like bleached hair, especially people that has chemically treated hair with relaxers and texturizers and perms and yeah, they have what we call high porosity hair, and the maintenance is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So be careful about what you put in your hair. This is why I don't do chemical treatment on people here. This is why I don't bleach hair, because I do not want to create high porosity hair. Yeah. Now that we have finished talking about a moisture routine, also an additional piece of information is to make sure that you have internal hydration. That's also important. So if you are not a regular water drinker like I wasn't, I'm not going to sit here and act like a saint like I drank water all the time. I didn't. But when I realized how much more I had to hydrate internally, I did increase water intake because it does affect your hair. It does. So make sure you increase hydration internally. Number 3, finally, there is the purpose of covering your locks when you sleep at night. There are people who think, oh, I have locks, I don't have to cover it. They go to bed with nothing on their head and they're sleeping on cotton sheets. And I don't care how great or Egyptian cotton or whatever, it sheds and it builds up. And people be like, oh, I don't put no lint in my hair. Listen, I have a cat. I can put her on a clean pillow for 2 or 3 days and you won't see her fur on the pillow. But if she sat on that pillow every day for a month, I probably could scrape all the fur off that pillow and make a whole new cat. That's how lint builds up on your locks. So cover your hair when you're sleeping at night. It's not just to maintain and keep moisture locked into your locks, but it also keeps lint from transferring to your hair. A lot of people say, oh, I can't cover my hair because it's too hot, I sweat. That's fine. Get a satin pillowcase, because not only are you avoiding lint transfer, when you're rubbing the friction of your hair against cotton or dry fabric, it also pulls and snags your hair. It dehydrates your hair. So you have to be careful. Okay? Let's move on to the next part of it. And just keep all of those things in mind. That is the kind of commitment you need to make to yourself in order to embark on this journey. Make sure you wash your hair regularly. Moisturize your hair regularly. Protect your hair by covering it regularly. That's low maintenance. And people be like, oh, that's a lot. It is not. When I go through my moisture routine, it takes me literally 5 minutes to do. And that's like the beginning to end routine. That includes the refresher rose-based the rose-based refresher spray when I put aloe on my scalp, because I suffer from seborrheic dermatitis and I don't want it to come back, so I put aloe gel on my scalp. Then I put oil to seal in the moisture on my hair. I also put growth serum on my scalp in my trouble area, which is no longer a trouble area. It all grew back, but I still do it just to keep up with the maintenance and making sure that I don't have that thinning going on, because I'm still going through the hormonal changes with the menopause and all of that other stuff. So, you got to stay up on it. Got to stay up on it. Okay. So, moving further ahead, the second most popular reason why many choose locks is the amazing look of having locks. Yes. Here's the scene. You see someone well into their final stages of their lock journey, enjoying the fruit harvest from the journey they embarked on to reach where they currently are. The vision of the beauty and the attraction to those gorgeous locks draws you in, and now you are inspired to say to yourself, ooh, I want locks. That is perfectly fine, because having locks, especially in the final stages, tends to have the effect that inspires others to want to do it too. But the misconception comes in when that inspiration does not include the consideration of all it took to get that beautiful, attractive crown they seek for themselves. Here's what I have experienced in the past, which is why I make it a critical part of my consultation session with potential new clients. A client will come and sit in my chair, show me a picture of how they want their locks to end up. My vision my vision is in the future. That, that's what they're looking at. They're looking at what they want, the end results, right? But to them, it is how they want their locks to look when they get up out of the chair from getting their starter locks put in. Ask any loctician how many of their clients came and thought that their starter locks was going to be thick and full, like the picture they showed them on the first appointment. I'm telling you, it's crazy. Okay. Yes, that is actually people. There's actually people who do not consider all it takes to reach the level of having beautiful, full, fluffy, frizz-free locks, right? Realistically, the only way to achieve that look in one sitting is instant or insta locks or lock extensions, which also requires a higher level of maintenance. Keep that in mind. So, how you liking it so far? There's a lot there to consider, yeah? So let's continue. The reason why I quoted look is because oftentimes while you will absolutely achieve the look you are looking for, you are robbed of the experience that makes you appreciate your locks the way you see so many admiring their locks. That's why when somebody says that they want to have instant or insta locks, I want them to be certain that, okay, so you have absolutely no interest in embracing the journey, because there's no journey once you do instant locks. You won't be able to embrace or appreciate the journey the way you would with going through it. So like shortcuts doesn't make you appreciate the journey the way you would like. I've had clients that took out their locks and completely started over their journey because the last time they did it with the instant, because they were going for a look, but then when they were surrounded by other people in the journey, in the community, and would hear how excited people were about reaching certain stages, and it was almost like sitting in a room full of new moms talking about their children's first steps, or when the child first started eating solid foods, and how excited all of the mothers got, and you're sitting there with a doll in your hand. And I'm quoting what a client has said to me about taking out her instant locks and restarting her journey from day one. She said she wanted to experience the entire journey from one stage to the next, to the next, to the next. So there's nothing wrong with getting instant locks. If you're in it because you want to achieve a certain look, because there are people that got locks that just love how it looked and they don't want anything to do with everything else. They're not interested in the journey and all of that stuff. And that's okay. That's absolutely okay, because locks is fire whether you went through the journey or got it instantly. Okay? Don't matter to me. No, never mind. I still love you. And we all do. So don't get it twisted. I'm just saying, if you are looking for the experience of the journey and reaching that elder stage where you can share your journey with other people, instant locks ain't going to give it to you. You're going to rob yourself of that. So just keep that in mind, okay? I just want to add to what I just said, okay? It's the different experience of growing with your locks throughout your journey versus the instantaneous look of locks. There's nothing wrong with getting instant locks or extension, as I said. However, as a loctician, it makes it easier to decipher the clients who wants the look and also desires the journey from the client who just wants the look. I will provide for either one. I do not specialize in creating instant locks or giving lock extensions. I have a preference not to, but I have clients who started their journeys with instant locks or lock extensions, and they are more than welcome to join my lock family. That's not a problem for me at all. Okay, I just wanted to touch on that because I don't want anybody to think that I'm discriminating against you because you chose to quote unquote take the shortcut, because I don't consider it that way. Some people, there are a great many people in the lock community that are in it for the look, because again, there's a regalness to how one looks with locks. It's beautiful, especially when they are well kempt and styled and stuff like that. Everybody can't pull that off. Now, I like to keep mine rather natural and simple. Every now and then I'll put a little bit of a style in. This is not much of a style, but it's a style. All right. So I just wanted to touch on that again with y'all. It don't matter how you did. The choice is yours. However you choose, this is your hair. This is your experience. This is your journey. So I love any way that you choose to go. I'm just providing you with all the information. If you start with instant locks or extensions, but you are very interested in embracing and pulling in the journey, you will be robbing yourself of a lot of that by skipping over hurdles before. Yeah, that's like putting you smack dab in the middle of the race and you missed all of the work that it took for you to get to where you were. So if you're looking to embrace and really fulfill yourself with the experience of the journey, don't start with instant or extensions, because you're going to rob yourself. And I'm trying to save you from wasting your time with that. So make sure that you're just ready. You know, you can always get some crochet faux locks or the hand twisted butterfly locks and all of that stuff to test the theory and see how you like it. And that you can unravel and cut out real quick. But when you got to do all of the extra stuff, it's hard to undo that, because a lot of times, and you can ask anybody who has restarted, it's a lot that goes into undoing instant locks or undoing or removing lock extensions. It's work, because I've seen people remove them and they didn't like how their hair looked, and they was like, let me just comb all of this out because this ain't pretty to me. I don't like it, and I'm not feeling the journey. You're not going to feel the journey because you didn't start from day one and go through some of the phases that everybody don't like. Everybody don't like all these phases. It's hard. It's not easy. That's why I'm doing this talk, so that you understand it's not easy. But it can be done. Okay, now we're going to get through some good parts. Y'all ready for this? I love how I explained this. It was fun putting together the analogy of how I do this. So I'm just getting right into this. Now it's time to take you through your journey. I want you to sort of look at your lock journey as the life cycle of a butterfly, specifically the caterpillar, pupa, transition stage, and adult stage, beautiful butterfly. When you start your locks, your starter locks are the first 0 to 6 months of your journey. It may be longer, depending strongly on the texture and curl pattern of your hair. My starter lock stage lasted much longer for this reason, because my hair is like a 3B, 3C, right? And I went through starter stage almost a year into my lock journey. So I was like long, way past 0 to 6 months. Starter locks or caterpillar stage requires the most maintenance. Your starter locks, 0 to 6 months, or longer, depending on your hair texture and curl pattern, is the most difficult stage of your lock journey. So let's understand what that means. Starter locks, as I'm going to refer here as caterpillar, and you'll see a picture of it somewhere up here in space, must be handled with the gentlest of care and be well nourished to prepare for the next stage of the journey. Still a caterpillar, you will enter into the next stage of your lock journey, the budding stage, from 6 to 12 months into the lock journey. Now, budding can occur sooner than that, 2 to 3 months into your journey. So it depends on your hair texture and curl pattern. All right. But generally speaking, 6 to 12 months is the most rough stages of the budding phase, right? The budding stage is much like the pupa or pupa transitioning stage of a butterfly's life cycle. During the budding stage, often referred to as the ugly stage, your locks will look lumpy, bumpy, fuzzy, and frizzy. Yeah, a lot of people don't like that stage. The lumps and bumps are like a full caterpillar filled with all the nutrients it needs to enter into its next phase. So it begins to create and develop its chrysalis, or cocoon, as most people like to refer to it. The fuzzy and frizzy hairs are the thread of your chrysalis that wraps around your lumpy, bumpy locks, which is in the teen stage, helping them to take form and what their shape will be as adults. All right, again, the timing is based much on the texture and hair type you have. My budding phase lasted another year, but on average, this stage is from 12 to 18 months. As time passes, your locks take form, shaping into your next phase of your adult locks emerges from the lumpiness and the fuzziness. In the butterfly's life cycle, this part of the journey, when the butterfly comes out of the chrysalis, breaks out of the cocoon, and you begin to see the beauty of what it is to become. It spreads its wings, smoothing out all of the lumps and bumps that was once this fat little well-nourished caterpillar and now has emerged as a beautiful adult butterfly. Approximately 2 to 5 years into your lock journey is your adult stage. The emerged adult is drying its wings. It's showing its beautiful, unique pattern as the wings expand. This signified in the growth spurt you will experience during this stage. You're going to have this tremendous growth spurt during that time with proper hair care. It doesn't happen if you're not taking care of your hair. Just keep that up here. Once this stage is complete, you will enter into what we call the rooted or elder stage of your lock journey. Okay? Which is 5 years or older. This stage is earned from going through your journey. You may achieve the look of elder or rooted locks instantly. The look. But the experience of it does not exist if the instant locks with extensions were done, because you skipped over everything else. So there's not really much of a journey for you to talk about, right? Here you have the wisdom of sharing your journey and helping another get through their journey. This stage signifies growth and wisdom, the elder stage or rooted stage. It is where you are intended to be, who you were intended to become. This is what makes the journey worth it. So, If your goal is to reach the look of a rooted elder lock without considering the journey in one sitting, other than skipping ahead and getting instant locks with extensions, you may not be ready for locks and will need more time to mold it over. So like if you want to get to that stage, but you don't want to go through all of the phases, but you want to feel the experience of the journey, then you're not ready. Give yourself time. Give yourself grace. Okay? If you aren't ready to put in the time and commitment through the challenges of the starter and budding stages of your journey, which are the hardest stages, you need more time to prepare. Get yourself mentally ready for that, okay? Because the insecurities that accompany different things that happen throughout those stages, they are real. You can ask anybody in the lock community that are within those stages. The insecurities are real. And if you don't have a great support system to help you get through it, you might want to be like, I don't want to do this. And you'll be ready to comb them out. So just make sure you get yourself prepared for that. If you're going it alone, like I did, you really have to. I thought about it for 5 years before I locked my hair because I knew I was going to be going through it alone. After the experience of when I did the big chop and a lot of negative comments, oh, why would you chop your hair, your beautiful hair? Da, 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 da. I wasn't going to even, So I was very careful about thinking thoroughly through before I decided to lock my hair because I knew I was going to be going through that alone. So if you're not ready for it, then give yourself time to prepare. You need to be mentally prepared, especially through those stages of your journey. So even if you have a support system, there's still a level of mental preparation you need to do before you start that journey. Okay, one of the hardest parts of your journey will be the unsolicited opinions of others. That can be a discouraging ordeal. Many don't like to admit this, but the opinions of others does matter to them. It does. I can tell by the way it affects them because the question of concerns I get shows in those who are affected by others' opinions. I get a lot of questions from clients based on what somebody else said to them, not from their own selves. Okay. And that hurts me. I really hate that people are so badly affected by other people's opinions, but it happens. It's the opinions of others that trigger those insecurities concerning your locks. You absolutely must be mentally prepared for this because if you ask anyone with locks, they would tell you there are going to be a lot of unsolicited opinions. Keyword, unsolicited. People will have something to say even though you didn't ask them. Nobody asked you. Why are you inserting yourself and giving me your opinion? I didn't even ask for it. Can't stand that. This is why the decision is yours and yours alone to make, and you must stick to it. So make sure that when you do decide to do it, commit to it. Commit to yourself. This is not no one else's journey but your own. So the commitment that you're making is to yourself. Love yourself enough to stick to it and stay committed to it. If that makes sense to you. I'm going to give you an example of what I mean. My son, my oldest son, and I'm going to put his picture up here so y'all can see him in the beginning of his journey to where he is now. His starter locks was so they were so cute. My son, before starting his lock journey, asked on social media of all places, which is a huge platform, right? What y'all think about me getting locks? That was his question, quote unquote. His words verbatim, okay? And there was so many discouraging no's and don't do it responses. Thankfully, my son, he's very strong-minded. He left his final decision up to himself and he decided it was something he wanted and proceeded forward. I teach my kids to think for themselves for that purpose. So others' opinions Yeah, you can say it, but it ain't going to change nothing about what I'm going to decide for myself. And I love that about him. Now, all of those who were discouraging and was like, oh, don't do it. No, no, no. They love what his locks has became. The transformation is incredible, as you can see here, right? So make sure your decision is for you and not based on the opinions of others. Having a strong support system does help tremendously. So surround yourself with the support you need. Now, Loc communities are growing more and more every day. And not to brag, but my Loc family, the Peculiar Roots tribe, baby, this tribe is amazing. I am a Peculiar Roots tribe member for life. You understand? I'm not Jamaican. I just wanted to say that because I like how they say that. Okay, so this is a very important part. Choosing a Loctician. Now, this is for people who are not going to be doing this on their own. If you're doing it on your own, we got some information for you too. But choosing a Loctician, if you choose to have a Loctician, it is important to choose one you can have open communication with. Make sure they are patient, a good listener to your concerns, nurturing, caring, and empathetic to your needs, educated, and considers your feelings and views and will not disregard your input or make decisions without your approval. Okay? Choosing your Loctician is a long-term relationship. Like you have asking any fella, like they have with a barber. You cannot just be sitting up in everybody's chair and expecting to get the same result. That's not going to happen. I can assure you of that. Okay? It is a long-term relationship which requires commitment from both of you, communication from both of you, trust and care from both of you, both ways. Just because we know more about Locs doesn't mean we know what's best for you or what you need for your journey. And I say we because I'm a Loctician, okay? Therefore, you should not be required full submission to your Loctician. I certainly don't require full submission. You need to participate. Decisions need to be made by you because this is your hair. I could recommend something, but I don't decide anything for anyone. You make the decision if you want to go forward with something I may have recommended to you. Okay? So, as decisions are made, your input is important. I, for one, want to know how you are feeling, what your thoughts are, and what your opinions are. We should be working together in the decision making for your hair. After all, it is your head. So participate. Okay? Don't just leave it up to them to do your hair. Communicate and be honest about your feelings. I ask my clients. They will tell you this is our relationship. I don't tell them what to do with their hair. Now, if you come to me saying, oh, that person said this and this person said that, and I'm not here to battle other people. That's not my platform. So if you feel like something someone else said to you or promised to you is better than what I'm offering to you, you are free to go. Now, I'm not going to just dismiss you. Well, if you feel that way, I'm not going to take it personally. But if it becomes a debate as to what somebody else told you or what some other stuff that you looked up, I will have the conversation with you about it so that it's full understanding of what that is and making sure that they are formally educated on something. And again, ultimate decision comes down to them. Okay. But I'm not in a position, even when I do consultations, and a lot of my consultations are with people who actually have Locticians, but feel like they can't communicate with their Loctician. I never offer for them to come and sit in my chair. I help them find solutions to repair the relationship that they have with their Loctician because I want to make sure that they have an understanding that they can have these conversations without feeling the intimidation or the pressure of not being able to speak up for themselves. And you don't have to go in there with a nasty attitude. You really don't. But I tell people I'm not in the business or the position of battling your loctician or saying or bashing your loctician or putting them down or stealing clients from other locticians. I certainly am not in the business of doing that. Now, if you have a toxic relationship with your loctician and it's just too much, then it is your choice to walk away. That is solely up to you. I would not recommend, oh, you need to leave them. That's something you have to see for yourself. That's something you have to see for yourself. That's like when you look at me. I'm a plump girl. I know I need to lose weight. But doing it is something that I have to be the one to put in motion. You can tell me all the stuff I can do to lose the weight, and it still ultimately comes down to what I decide to do. Same difference with your hair and your locks, okay? That's the kind of relationship you should have with your loctician. Your input should matter. Always. Okay, we made it to the final cut. So the beautiful locks you may have saw that inspired you. You saw extraordinary quality that exhibited a creative impulse to do the same to your crown. I don't blame you. I don't. That is the effects of our locks. And that's the effects our locks have on others that want locks. But now I want you to take from this everything else you need to consider, such as what it takes to get to this stage of extraordinary quality, and be encouraged to move forward. These preparations are intended to give you the support, confidence, and hope to entrust yourself to get to your own place of extraordinary quality and appreciating it even more, knowing what you will embark on to get there. If you're considering locks and you're seeking more support, I am available for a one-to-one consultation virtually. Simply click on my booking service page on the website and book a 30-minute consultation. Or if you want to book a longer one for an hour, we can do that too. If you want to be your own loctician and you need guidance, you can book the 1-hour consultation. That I guide you through and give you the information that you need to get started on doing your own hair and how to take care of your hair and things like that. So I do have 1-hour consultations for the do-it-yourselfer to make sure that all the stuff that you feel that you need to know in order to do your hair, I will provide you with that information as well. Okay. I hope this talk has helped you to understand more about the lock journey and what it entails. Even more, I hope it has encouraged you to want to embark on your journey and move forward. Thank you for joining me for another week of Locs Talk. To view these vlogs, you can go to my YouTube channel, which is here, right? I don't even know why I said that because I'm reading it. But I'm informing the people on the website they can also view this, like me talking on the YouTube channel. And just remember, I air a new episode at 8 p.m. every Sunday, Eastern Standard Time. So this is part 1 of a 2-part series. Now, I just told you everything that you need to know or should understand before starting your lock journey. So what's next? Now we're going to talk about the next stages. Starting your locks, different ways you can start your locks, different ways to maintain your locks, to different type of locks, because now you have to decide what kind of locks you want and how you're going to maintain them and all of those different things, right? So I'm going to take you through that, and that will end the second part. So by the end of that, if you are strongly considering locks, you will have all the information and all the tools that you will need to have in order to go into the next stage of your life. And it's going to be grand and it's going to be beautiful. And if you want me to be a part of it, well, you know where to find me. Don't forget to subscribe, share with your friends, and I will see you next week on Locs Talk. Bye.